An election on Tuesday, and we now know who our city commissioners are as well, who our mayor is. It's Mark Behnke, who joins us this morning, and Commissioner Lynn Ward-Gray is here too. Good morning to the both of you.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thanks
morning,
for being
Richard.
here.
Good morning, WBCK.
Yeah. I didn't want to say our new old mayor.
That's okay. That's okay.
You did serve as mayor before.
Old is new,
Yes.
new again.
New again.
As they say.
That's right. So you did serve as mayor before. Mark, what motivated you to want to serve this time?
Well, I really felt the timing was right. I think Dave Walters did an excellent job, but got a little tired, I would say. And he had approached me and said he would like to run for vice mayor, and felt that he still had a lot to offer, and I believe he does too, to the people of Battle Creek. There's some things that he would like to accomplish. But at the same time, the responsibility of the mayor position takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of organization, really, to make it work effectively. There's a lot of people that would like to see the mayor at their event and stuff like that. So we're going to work through that and try to get it taken care of. But I'm very pleased to serve the people of Battle Creek as their next mayor.
So, Lynn, you were in the running there for a little while, and we were discussing for a minute. Yeah. We were discussing this here a while ago, that generally the way in which we choose the mayor, which is done after the election and the commissioners themselves decide who the mayor will be, has generally been unanimous. This time it wasn't. And in a published report in the Inquirer, you talked a little bit about this process. Talk about that today and how you feel about this.
Well, I just want to first congratulate Mark, and certainly
thank you,
you're welcome. And certainly Dave, who has done a great job leading our city, and I have no doubt that Mark will do the same again. What I was talking about is flaws in the system that we use to select our mayor around setting up systems that really divide us more so than bring us together. And it really highlights to me things about us that our city really does not represent. And it's hard to put your voice out there, your position out there, your passion for our community out there with the way the system and the process is set up now. So
what you're saying is there's a way somehow then that this better, the outcome is better. Is that what you're saying? Yes. I mean,
we've been talking about how we elect our mayor and a public vote. And personally, just on the surface, I really do believe that having the public elect our mayor this seems the right thing to do. But with the current system, with the commissioners picking the mayor, it sets up all these various divides and false narratives that really aren't true. Not about Mark, not about me. It divides us on all kinds of levels, from race to gender to socioeconomic background to whether or not you have money, don't have money, socioeconomic background, where you live, etc. But we're a diverse group of citizens, and we want our representation and our leadership to really embrace that. And the way the system sets up, not only is it us having those debates and creating these arguments that really don't match that individual, it also causes our community not to have that diverse representation that I think we deserve, and everybody's voice will then be valued.
You know, I think when Dave Walters was the mayor, one of the occasions when he was here, we talked about the way in which the mayor is elected, and he seemed to think, too, that a public vote might be in order sometime. And I think, Mark, you were quoted as saying the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. I really feel that appointing a blue ribbon committee to investigate and report back to us may not produce the direct election of mayor. But I think a majority of the people out there would like to participate in that. I'm not sure what's going to happen. It's up to the commission. The mayor doesn't have any more power than any other of the commissioners, so it's important that we'll see if this comes up to be one of the initiatives that the commission wants to take on this year. But getting back to the commission, of all the commissions I've served with, this is probably the most caring, competent, concerned, and really ready to hit the road commissions that I've ever experienced. 3 of the new commissioners have all served before. We didn't even have to show them the pop machine on Tuesday night before the election. So I really feel that it's going to be a good time to tackle some of the issues that we have out there as a community. I didn't agree with the statement that my commissioner, Lynn Gray, made. I felt bad for her for making that statement. I think she chastised 51 plus years of mayors that have served the city of Battle Creek. You had great mayors like Don Gerard, Maud Bristol Perry, my good friend Joe Schwartz, who has served this community in several positions, Fred Bridges, Ted Deering. A lot of the mayors in previous services to Battle Creek were elected the same way. It takes hard work. It takes building consensus. And let me give you just a quick example. I was elected in 1991. I didn't get elected mayor to 2000. Mm-hmm. It took me 9 years really to build the friendships, to build my wife. I married my wife during that period of time. It doesn't happen overnight. I firmly believe in 1961, when our Charter Commission put this policy in place for the direct election of the mayor by the City Commission, it was the best policy that they wanted at that period of time. And to criticize it and chastise it and call it flawed, I disagree with it. And I really feel that we have the best policy that our charter has given us. And if we want to change it, I challenge Lynn Gray, and I challenge any commissioner to set up the process to change it. And it might be easier to change the city income tax than it is to the direct election of the mayor. But I think the fact of the matter is, let's just not talk about it. Let's do it then. If you feel that vehemently opposed to the way that we process the election of the mayor currently.
All right. But maybe we've talked longer about this whole issue of how the mayor is elected than maybe we intended, but that's okay. So it sounds like a challenge, Lynn. If we don't like the way it is, what are we prepared to do to change it, is what Mark is saying. What do you think about that?
Well, I think Mark is saying he is ready for us to have that discussion, and it is up to this commission to, make it a priority. And we've, just like he said, he's heard from some individuals, majority of individuals who said the mayor should be elected by the people. Mm-hmm. And so let's have that discussion. Let's have that process begin. We've also talked about having staggered elections. Let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. Let's put it out there. I don't feel I chastised anyone, and I have had an overwhelming amount of support, and I thank individuals out there for contacting me, sending me well wishes. I said something that I think I feel is accurate. The information is available for anybody to see about who has been our mayor and who has served our great city over the years, and I applaud each and every one of them, including Mark. And that process that was put in place, although well-intended, again, sets up divides. And I mentioned some of them, and there's certainly more. And I think we need to address that. If it has a disparate effect, even though well-intended, that's something that we need to take a look at. And I might not have the answer. I think I said it that night. I might never be mayor. I might never be vice mayor again. And that's okay. I feel I have a gift for being an advocate for the people, for anyone who is here in our city and abroad. I feel I have a voice. And I'm blessed enough to be elected, and thank you to all those voters out there who elected me. I feel I have a voice that I need to make sure that I don't be I'm not a disobedient to God again. Mm-hmm. He said to use it, and that's what all of this is about, to speak up for those individuals who can't speak for themselves.
So we talk about the majority of folks who you say might be in favor of electing the mayor separately and a public vote for that. But what did we have, like a 9% turnout or something?
That's a problem.
How do you feel about that? And how do we get people more involved in their own communities and their own neighborhoods?
It's a root cause. I believe it's one of the things that we're talking about, the end piece, the mayor, vice mayor, but we need to address the root cause and what the root problem is, fix the problem. As we're putting up all the smoke around other things, why aren't people interested and engaged in going out and participating in the local elections? Address that. Maybe they don't feel they know the candidates. Maybe they feel they don't. Maybe there's other people involved in this situation that aren't, availing themselves of what's going on. And they just say, well, it's never made a difference before, so I'll just sit this one out. What is the root problem? Address the root problem, and our voter turnout will increase.
What do you think about that, Mark?
Well, the next city commission election will be in 2020, and we all know what's going to take place in 2020. It'll be the presidential election.
Right, that
Donald
sort of
Trump,
ride
I'm
the
sure, will
tails.
be running for re-election again, and we're going to have a very large turnout. The administration really understood some of the complexities that we have relative to electing commissioners, and they've already begun the process. They've identified some of the flaws that we have that they need to correct. So I think it's up to the commission to really elevate this to a point where we're going to spend some time dissecting and better understanding some of the improvements that we can make for the people of Battle Creek. The 9% days are gone with. I think you'll be seeing at least maybe 30% people voting in off-year elections, and then up to maybe 50, 60, 70, or even higher than that in the presidential elections going forward. So, and yet the biggest hurdle will be getting people to remember to vote. I mean, the flip the ticket or the judicial side of the ballot, I think they sometimes refer to that. We will be below the judicial side of the ballot in 2020 because we are probably the most insignificant of all the people running in 2020. So that'll be the most difficult part.
Getting through the ballot.
Right. And reminding people that, hey, the city commission is going to be on that ballot too. So I think we're making some good improvements. I applaud the committee that came up with the idea. I think they worked through the city manager, but it was the City Compensation Commission that actually came up with the idea and made the recommendation to the city commission to change the election to save about $35,000 a year to the taxpayers of Battle Creek. That's how much we spent on having this election. So I think it's good for us.
I think there's two different viewpoints, maybe more, but two different viewpoints on the idea that we've elected commissioners who've been elected before and have gone away and come back. There's the experience idea there. As you said, they didn't need to be shown around. They knew they knew their way around. The other side of the argument, of course, is why do we keep reelecting the same people? Why don't we get more fresh blood? What are your thoughts on that, either one of you?
Well, I certainly encourage anyone who has the interest in running for election to do so. I think people are hesitant because there's just a fear of the unknown. But if they ask questions, our staff is very helpful in making sure that you are comfortable in knowing the process. And if you do the work, you might have that good outcome. And I just wanted to mention something else when it comes to the elections as well. When it comes to it moving to the even years and being with governor and presidential elections, I did have the fear then, and even though I strongly support saving money, it's definitely the more economic thing to do for our taxpayers. It also creates one of those divides as far as a nonpartisan race being with partisan races. And that really sets up a lot of what was going on in I think, another one of those divides in our mayor, vice mayor. So I caution and want to lift that up because I believe that, I hope it doesn't change how the local election occurs. But it is a concern. I hope I'm wrong.
I want to make sure we get some time here. So, Mark, the experience factor, in your view, what do you think of that?
Well, clearly, this last election demonstrated that experience counts. no one wants to make an issue during the campaign of the inexperienced candidates or their youthfulness or anything like that. I think Ronald Reagan said that best when he ran in 1884 for re-election. But the fact of the matter is the people have spoken. They like to get people in there that know what they're doing, that are not going to change the world. Battle Creek is a very conservative community. You can just look at how people voted throughout the entire city. And where some people received more support was more of the liberal area, and then some people went to the south side of Battle Creek and did quite well with conservatives. So I think it's important to allow the people that voice, and they did that, and we'll go forward, and we're going to do our best for the people of Battle Creek.
All right. We appreciate the time that you've both given us today. Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
It did go very quick. It
Time
usually
flies.
does. Right. And so come back anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Mayor
Mark.
Mark Behnke and Commissioner Lynn Ward Gray